Hello, folks. Interview will start shortly. Tech issues on the other side with the microphone, but should be all good and sorted out. I'll have the questions pulled up and we'll go in order of questions regarding Dust Devils first, then Girls in Panzer, and then any personal questions for the author. So, for this first section, we are going to start off with questions regarding Dust Devils. So, if you weren't able to make it in time to the forum, but were able, yeah, Fuma. If you weren't able to submit anything for the forum, but you still wanted to ask the questions now, this will be the Dust Devils section. We're just gonna delay a
Hear
little.
me now?
Yeah, it's a little janky, but we'll work with it.
You have my voice?
Mm. It's very bit crushy.
Wait, hold on. Let me try this. How about now?
Oh, that's great. That'll work perfectly.
Okay, so I was just on my car's Bluetooth. Like I guess the car's mic or microphone. I guess it isn't as good. But now this is just a phone call, really.
Yeah.
I should have done this from the start because I wanted to use my headphones with like the microphone on it, like the fancy one. But I just couldn't get it to work on my tablet for whatever reason, which is a shame. But it's whatever. As long as you hear me fine, it's okay.
Yeah, this audio is acceptable quality. I'll take it.
All right, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Start the stream music. Forgot to do that.
Okay. Okay, just real quick though, I am gonna turn on my car so I can turn on AC though.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's always gonna be like 90 degrees out here in the land of Dust Devils.
Absolutely.
Hello, chatters. Welcome to the stream. Alright. Whenever you're ready, we can start off with the first question.
Yeah, well, just give me like half a second so I don't connect it to the car Bluetooth.
It's more of a serious one, too. Which is
All right,
cool.
just give me. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Oh my god. Yep, devil.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Alright. First question. What was the idea to hold off on using canon characters for as long as you have?
Yeah, this is something I always, I always thought about canon characters. It's not like I always, just forgot about them. It's just that since this story is my like first ever like actual written creative piece meant to be seen by others, that I was always hesitant to write canon characters because I always doubted myself that I could write them, in character, and so the people don't like yell at me for like, oh, this character wouldn't do this and that, or they wouldn't say this and that. So I thought, well, I guess it'd be easier to create my own characters, so that way, well, I know they're in character because they're mine. And
That's
also the fact is, since oh, go ahead.
that's actually interesting to me. I just figured you would have liked the concept of Gup more than the characters itself, and that's what you wanted to do. But to learn it was more of an interest in respecting the original characters. That's a pretty neat.
To a degree, but also when I started writing Dust Devils, like over approaching 6 years now, I was very novice, so I was like very more cautious of what I was doing. So I thought I'll handle canon characters when I feel it's better. Also,
Yeah.
also since the story sets is mostly set in America, well, there's not really much excuse to write about them anyway.
Yeah. Alright. I have a silly question writing up on the
Oh
second
yeah,
one.
I know all of them. Let's see it.
Who would win in a hypothetical battle? Valerie's autism or Heather's schizophrenia?
Okay, so there's two answers to this question. So if this is like a physical battle, like they're actually fighting each other, Heather wins every single time. Not even close. And it will be actually less than like it wouldn't. It's not even like a street fight. It would be like, imagine like a wolf attacking a deer. It'd be on that level.
Mike Tyson versus kindergartner.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just brutality. Since a lot of people have like this honor in fighting. Well, Heather does not care about that. It's only about surviving it. So now, in terms of like autism, well, I would say Valerie has it one hands down, because when it comes to like at least knowing about tanks and really being intimately aware of them, then there is really no one else on the team that can really come close.
Yeah, I would say that adds up, especially when the team regularly makes fun of Valerie's Japanese tankery obsession.
Yeah, it's really latched on to that one. Yeah.
But the voices Heather hears versus but the voices could gang up, and if it's like a game of Jeopardy, it'll be 3 Heathers versus 1 Val in a
Yeah,
trivia
so yeah,
game.
there's another reason why Val just can't win in a physical contest, is that she was outnumbered from the start.
Okay. This one is a little bit. This next question is a little interesting because between us, we've been in Girls and Panzer and fanfic servers for a long time. It's going for me. It's been 5 years. I don't know about how to you, but it's been a while. You've gotten to meet a lot of authors, a lot of different kinds of
Oh yeah.
writers, a lot of different kinds of stories, from your generic Girls and Panzer shipping to the more extremes of, oh my god, why is this so gory?
Yeah, yeah.
The question is, are there other fics/stories, even outside of the Girls and Panzer fandom, that have influenced your work? Things that other authors have done, any neat gimmicks that might have helped shape your writing?
That's very interesting, because before writing Dust Devils, I didn't read that much fan fiction in general. And truth be told, the ones I did do were smutty, so they're not really going to influence Dust Devils. And then just the select few that weren't, though, is just that I remember this one Girls on Panzer fic in particular that was like a what if, like, oh, what if Miho just like lost the nationals, and then they explore that like timeline. But I wouldn't say that story had a huge influence on my own, just beyond genuinely inspiring me just to write. But even then, I read that you know alternate history or alternate retelling like some years ago, so before Dust Devil. So it's not like I can't really say any one fic was like, oh, okay, this it was so good, I should write my own. No, it's just that it just came to me. Well, in that inspiration from fanfiction in general was little, but it was still present. But it's not like the one defining factor.
Dust Devils is homegrown. There's no artificial product in the dust. It is
Well,
authentic, made by
it,
man.
it's fully organic, with non-GMO, good for vegetarians and vegans,
Can I have the pulp?
grass-fed. What?
Can I have the pulp? Like orange juice?
Yeah, you have all the pulp. Dust Devils is like 100% pulp, actually.
I bet Nell loves the pulp. Shout out to avid Dust Devils reader.
He does. Is he in the call or whatever? Is he?
Nell
Who's
is in
listening
the
right now?
chat.
Okay, well, I can't, read the chat, because that would like, I'll have to do one thing. I just don't want to do that one thing.
Oh, of course. But Nell loves pulp. So this is good to know.
Yeah, that's good. And Nail needs all the pulp. He's a growing boy. He needs all of it.
Alright. Next question. What are the odds of seeing fan-made schools and teams existing in the same universe as Dust Devils? This is more fan fiction related. You've seen other OC schools around the
Yeah, I'm
parts.
familiar with all. Yeah, yeah. Like for example, like what Leia created, and then what Minuteman created, and then of course there's a whole other ones that just can't come to mind right now. It just that well, I would say at best any original OC schools they'll get a cameo at best. I'm not going to like have them feature in a big match like Mojave Rose versus Old Dominion from like Leia's fic or Foreign Dominion. I can't really recall the school, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But
Yeah,
I'm not going to have like a big match between like OC school versus OC school.
I think that's
They'll just
fair.
get yeah. I can't because one is that will require like so much involvement from the other author, and then I'll be waiting on them, and then like I like to write at my own pace, and I just don't want to wait.
I recall you
And
having some traumatic experiences from working with other authors.
yeah, I'd have ruined this for everyone. Sorry. And also another thing is that I just prefer that when like the most important part of the story, which is the matches for sure, that they are wholly my
Definitely.
own. Yeah, that yeah. So I don't mind, and in fact, I hope that whenever it makes the most sense that I can like introduce as cameos only some OC schools, like to flesh out my own world, and really just to like pay some homage and respect to the other people that I come to know and love and all that. So yeah, just cameos. Sorry, that's all you get.
I think that's fair. It's your story. It'd be too much effort, and cameos are just sweeter. It's a nice homage.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is very writing specific. I can't add a
Okay,
lot,
lay it on
but
me.
you having written something just as long as the Bible and still ongoing, I'm
Yep.
sure you'll have a bit of information here. How do you execute the concept of show, don't tell in writing? Is it telling and
Okay.
showing at the same time?
Okay. So when I read this, when you shared with me this question, I really thought about it because I thought this is very important. And so to begin, for the longest time, I didn't understand what show don't tell meant, but in writing, right? I can get the concept in like in the visual media, right?
Right,
But for the longest time, I couldn't grapple with the show don't tell because in my mind, well, all you doing in writing is telling, right?
right.
But then I guess over the course of the story, then I guess naturally I began to understand the difference of showing and not telling. And it's basically I'm trying to like organize my thoughts real quick. Let's just say for an example, right? If I'm like writing like a scary scene, right?
Right.
That instead of if a character like walks in like a building and then they hear footsteps in the floor above them, me telling will be just be saying there's a monster in the second floor. Me showing will be like me describing the character's emotions, their fears, and the general mood as they try to decipher what is making the noises on the second floor.
I have noticed that while reading Dust Devils myself up to chapter 41, end of the national tournament, there
Mm-hmm.
is numerous, it's probably in every single chapter, where it almost feels like things are constantly being foreshadowed but never explicitly described. Just because it allows the reader to be a little more creative, use their mind, try to picture what's actually happening instead of being told. And I think it's fun. It makes it more engaging to read the story.
And I would say that yeah, I am foreshadowing, but this is a bit of a flaw for me when writing is that I put something in an earlier chapter that won't come to fruition like till dozens chapters later, and that will actually come up in another question because I guess this is a nasty habit of like her you have like a Chekhov's gun, right?
Uh, no.
I think that's what it's called, but the concept is that if a gun is introduced in Act One of a story, then it has to be fired by Act Three.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's the thing: I load up a lot of guns in my story, and then they're still unfired yet. So and for some people who have noticed like these earlier tidbits like years ago, they're still waiting for the payoff. So
You just need time to cook.
Yeah,
It'll come eventually.
yeah,
I
it'll come
promise.
eventually. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you might be 50 when it happens, but hey, as long as it happens.
Dust Devils, chapter 2037 in 2077.
And then I just go on a tangent. I just write about Fallout for the next 100 chapters, and and then somehow tied to Dust Devils.
This is literally 1984. Gasp. Okay. Next question. Something a little less nuanced, a little simpler. Unless you have a crazy answer for it. But how did the idea of Dust Devils start?
Okay, so I do remember like the moment I was in when like the genesis of Dust Devils like came into being. I was I was just like doing some exercise at home on an exercise bike, and really like as people do, my mind tends to wander when you're on the bike, and then for whatever reason I was thinking of girls on Panzer because at the time I was more of an I guess an active viewer, and I think maybe around that time I finished a rewatch, and then I got to thinking about what I would like to see if there was another like season because at this point that finale wasn't out yet, I believe,
Right.
or and maybe at most it was announced, but considering how engaged I am then and now, I probably didn't even know about it then. Um, so I thought about it. Like I kept thinking, like, oh, this could be fun if it was in the show and such. And then over time, I thought, I guess it'd be fun if they mentioned the United States because in one of the episodes they mentioned the World Cup. It's like a blink and you miss a moment. Um, and I thought it'd be cool if they explored like World Cup, And then, the more I thought about it, I thought, I can imagine if there was a World Cup, you would have this moment, you have this moment, and then I had an idea for a scene that started it all. And I'm not going to describe it because that scene that first led me to create Dust Devils is still not yet written. Because
Oh, spoilers.
yeah, because let's say this, let's say if Dust Devils lasted 200 chapters, I thought about chapter 195, so from the start, and then really this whole story is me working towards that scene that I first initially thought about nearly 6 years ago.
Damn.
And I'm fairly amazed that I can still remember that scene fairly well because at this point it's burned into my mind. So yeah, I'm still working towards it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dust Devils, the American side of things, is definitely the most outstandingly unique thing about the fic. And I do recall like world tournaments vaguely being mentioned in Girls in Panzer der Film, but it was only a passing thought between the negotiations between Anzu and Renta, and wasn't
No,
really elaborated later when
yeah,
Urai's coalition team beat the university team.
yeah. If I had to guess, the showrunners only like added it in just in case they wanted to explore it, but also only made it in a passing way, where if they don't want to explore it, well, it's not really like they invested that much time into it.
Right. Alright. Some more silly questions to end off the Dust Devils section. What does Emma look like again? Also, will you donate to the Heather Shrine?
What does Emma look like? That's a very good question. Honestly, she's out of like the main characters. I feel like I use her not enough,
Really?
and because of that, in my mind, I don't have like a very concrete idea of what she looks like.
My impression reading through Dust Devils was that out of like the main four, Ashley got the least amount of attention. So hearing
Like,
it's
well,
Emma
I
is
guess so, but
interesting.
it's also because when I first like created Ashley, I already had like I made her in such a distinct way that she's memorable to the point that Mel drew art of her, which is why she's my profile pic right now on Discord.
Nice.
Though as for Emma, is like more. Well, I hate to use it, but it's like she's more of a generic white girl. Honestly, I mean, she's great, but you know, if you were like, if she was like, if you saw her in real life, like, you wouldn't really do a double take. It's like, oh, just another person.
Oh yeah, of course.
But and I guess to an extent, you know, when you're writing somewhat grounded literature, if you ignore all the battles, right?
Right.
That way, and that so not every like character can be like this distinct outlandish person, right?
Right.
They're just they're a normal team. And as for the Heather Shrine, since I created it, then all the money should go to me then.
Oh. Will this fund the Dust Devils animation project?
Nell is working on the money. He's going to give me all of it.
Oh, of course.
In fact, a portion of his paycheck is sent to an account that's funding the animation project. Only like 1,000 more years, and we should have like $1 million.
Awesome. Looking forward to it when I gain immortality.
Same here.
Alright. Next question is a inside joke between the fanfiction subcommunity of Girls in Panzer, which has been uttered a million times, but those not familiar may need some more context. What is up
for the newbies,
with Valerie eating a shoe?
Hey, is Maggie Tech in the call or in the chat?
Dunno, but we'll show Magitech later.
Okay, he's not here for his own good. Because he's the one that created the joke. Because, and it has spread to the point where I shared recently that just one of my readers on Wattpad, like, sent me a message and they were asking if they somehow missed something in the story and they didn't realize what was going on with Valerie and eating shoes. So his little crappy inside joke went that far. And just to like briefly summarize, it was just like initially a passing comment he made. Not even on the current server. I think it was on DFF. Not even, maybe even the old like subreddit server we all first met on. So it's pretty old, but it was just a passing comment, and then for whatever reason it just refused to die.
Sometimes absurdity gets the best of us, and it makes us all primal in our brains, and so we constantly utter the same thing in hopes our giggles will return, such as Caveman discovering fire, and such as the Gup fanfic writers uttering Valerie eating a shoe.
Anyway, she likes Timberlands, by the way.
Oh, yum. I'm a bit of a Adidas person myself. It's got a nice texture, good flavor, and a nice spice, really.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Last question for the Dust Devil section. This is a very... Sure, you've heard this one a million times. When is original character Sachi going to make her grand appearance in Dust Devils?
It will be in the final chapter when she saves everyone and the world at the same time.
Awesome. Oh, I'm gonna cut it short going to take a second away as we transition to the Girls and Panzer section.
Awesome.
Okay, just a quick break. We're back in chilling.
Okay.
Now, you're free to ask questions in the chat again as we enter the Girls and Panzer section.
How many people are in chat right now?
I can count like 7.
Oh, that's a lot more. I thought it was just Nell.
No, there is quite a few. Even like some names I don't recognize. It's awesome.
Some strangers. All right.
Yeah, some stranger dangers who are learning about the secrets of Dust Devils and our million inside jokes.
You made sure they all sign NDAs, right? This is like some company secrets.
Oh,
If
top
anyone feels
government
replicate my
secret.
success, then
It's classified.
yeah.
But But don't you know Gup fans play War Thunder? We're gonna leak it. We're gonna leak it on the
You're so
forums.
right. Should have known. It's already leaked by now.
It's been sent to 17 different countries. It's on its way to more.
Oh my god. Alright, well.
Alright. Simple question to start off the Girls and Panzer section. Who is your favorite character?
So there's like I got like two answers. One is Miho's mom, for obvious reasons.
Ah, yes. Very, very obvious. Two distinctly obvious reasons on Miho's mom.
Yeah. And then as for like another one, I always just like Miho as well because I don't know, I just the main character and that was it. I wish I had a more exciting answer, but that was pretty much it. I just overall her demeanor is just very enjoyable and like yeah.
Yeah, she makes a lot of
like
silly noises. It's really cute.
Yeah, I feel like if she was real, we'd be friends. So
Nice. And for any Smash players in chat, I will not discredit you for picking Mario. As in the same vein, AHW's favorite character is Miho. Nothing wrong with being a little generic.
if it explains stuff more, it'll I also do love vanilla ice cream. So I guess that speaks to me a lot.
Oh, you're doubling down. I bet
Well,
you
yeah.
get your pizzas with only pepperoni.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's my mix with the basics. It's they're popular for a reason.
You've introduced a few unique tanks and Dust Devils that haven't been seen in the original series, so this next question is asking, which tank would you dearly wish to see in action in Das Finale?
Easily, super Pershing.
Ooh.
and people in the know will understand why.
Chapter 41, shout out.
That's one reason, but there's another reason because I think in the old server, I shared like information that Saunders had a super Pershing, and that was canon, right?
Right.
But then everyone else dogpiled on me saying I was wrong. They couldn't find the information. So, and I say, well, I learned this. Well, here's the thing. I learned this from TV tropes, right?
Right.
Which I know on the surface is not like, oh, not super reliable. But then I PM'd the person who submitted that fact or that piece of information.
Right.
And they say they got it from something called a school supplemental.
Oh.
And then what? And then I think who's that person that's like very in like the lore 91 or 94?
92, yeah.
92. So I think I reached out to him or someone did on my behalf where he mentioned that school supplementals aren't all translated or maybe not all found, something of the like. So I'm willing to maintain that the person who first wrote on TV tropes that Saunders had a super Pershing is correct, and I'm gonna die on this hill that Saunders has one.
I do have to agree with you, just because when we're speaking of 92 here, 92 has stated himself that the supplemental material and the drama CDs that come out for GUP can very likely be considered canon. So I think it's a very valid argument. For those who don't know, 92 is the main translator for our Girls and Panzer anime. So we can watch it in English for those who aren't too well versed in the words of anime.
I'm trying to recall that the reason why Saunders doesn't use super Pershing is that for a lack of parts. And that is another reason why people doubted me, because since Saunders is like obscenely rich, they would have the means to afford it.
I actually have an answer to this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
In one of the drama CDs that the AK team in 92 recently translated a few months ago, I watched them all. They came with the visuals. It was very nice to their editing team. Saunders has other tanks. Saunders has normal Pershings as well. They don't use it because they're on a Sherman-only policy.
Right, okay.
Which...
So I would say...
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead first.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would almost say it's like intentionally nerfing themselves, but not to discredit the Sherman as a tank, very good, but it's strange that they have
Yeah.
a policy for it.
Well, it's like Kay has like she said the thing that I don't think her is in war, so she is more invested in like the fair sportsmanship in the sport. Whereas for other people, they have a, let's say, a more traditional mindset where any and all tanks is fair game to use because why not? You want to win, right?
Right. It's okay.
So anyway, yeah, they have a super Pershing. You can't convince me otherwise. You're all wrong. I'm right. And then one day, as like that's finale 6 or whatever, at the final scene, Saunders is gonna whip it out and do like a wheelie with it, and then that's how they win it all.
Even though Saunders was already eliminated. They'll find a way.
Super, they'll put the super in super Pershing. They'll find a way.
Cool. Alright. That one actually went a lot longer than I thought. If there's one thing
That was a rant that was like building up for a long time.
If there's one thing you dislike about Gup, whether it's the characters or the world building, what would it be?
Okay, so I got one right here, right?
Right.
So there's like an inconsistency with how they do with school ships, right?
Right.
And one thing that really bothered me was that for Miho's school ship, it was like, it was fairly standard. But then in one of the later like nationalities, all of a sudden it has like a piece of the American Southwest, and that we're supposed to believe it was always there. And then there's another school ship that has an actual mountain on it. Like, yeah.
Oh, the Jet Costa, or continuation.
Yeah. It's that one. I just can't pronounce the name. But look, here's the thing: both decisions are stupid because it makes the show too wacky. Look, it's already wacky enough with having children fight each other in tanks and then live on impossibly big super carriers. But at least within that context, you have your own wacky rules and a wacky reality that's confined in. But then when you like make it so like, oh yeah, this ship just has like a desert on it, or this ship has a mountain on it, that it's like they don't care. They don't care that much.
Yeah, I think there definitely could have been like a hollow mountain place there, but even then, it's like a retcon of what we saw in episode 1.
Yeah, and then another thing, I really don't like retcons, even though I have done it myself, only because I see it as like absolutely necessary. But at least for what the showrunners say, you didn't have to do that. That ship didn't need a desert. That ship didn't need a mountain. And even if it is hollow, why even have it?
I think a studio set would have worked, like a little you paint the mountain.
A studio set would have worked fine, and that could have just been an excuse to change it up every time.
Yeah.
Which you really can't do, because let's say they want to switch like Miho's school ship, like, oh, there's a rainforest this time. Oh, there's a jungle this time.
No.
Oh no, there's an actual whole interstate this time. Like, no, you can't do that.
We're playing Minecraft out here in the Girls in Panzer universe.
They have creative mode on. Just turn off. I thought that was just SMP pure. Come on.
Alright. Next question. We have a hold down T-32 when? What?
Actually, eventually, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I'll say this, that a T-32, it won't be on Mojave Rose's team. It'll just be like an interesting engagement against a hostile team, because it's a very powerful tank, and when hull down, like almost invulnerable. So I thought, oh, this would be an interesting challenge to write about.
Cool. Every match must have their own mouse, as Miho intended.
Is that? Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least every match have their own like identity. So
there's a lot to discuss in this next question, because it is both subjective, but also, I guess last time we spoke, you weren't fully caught up on Das Finale, so your opinion might be twisted a little bit. But your
I
favorite
think the
battle on
most
the
I watched is the
series.
first one.
Yeah. Favorite battle on the series.
Well, no, actually, no. I watched the second one, but I never watched the rest.
Ah.
So, what was the question again?
Your favorite battle in the series. But since you haven't caught up on Das Finale, which I think has the best battles, like completely dwarfs season 1, it's going to be a little strange, but it's
Yeah,
your interview, so your favorite battle.
yeah, yeah. I can understand this is it will be a not like a complete answer, and yeah, and I believe you fully when you say that the battles in the episodes that I haven't seen are in an objective sense better. But speaking personally, my favorite battle is the national finals of season 1, and that's mainly because that's how I was introduced to the show when I saw a clip of the national finals on YouTube. Like
Really?
I want to say either 2012 or 2013, when the show back then was pretty new. So so when I watched that like clip on YouTube, it was like, damn, you know what? I'm gonna give this anime stuff a try, and then the rest was history.
You know, I'm pretty much the same way. I was introduced to Girls in Panzer through a Pravda a video on YouTube where they sung Katusha. I'm sure everyone knows the iconic scene.
Yep.
We have a quick question in the chat. How do you pronounce Mojave Rose?
Just like that.
Just like that. You heard it here from me, Mini Stalin. I invented the
Yeah,
pronunciation.
you pronounce it pretty spot on. Like, I guess if I say it like Mojave Rose, like yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, I guess there is like another way if you pronounce Mojave as in like the indigenous people, which has its own, I think, has a slightly different pronunciation and a spelling. But when I say it, I just use like the generic American pronunciation.
Of course. Shout out to Barstow.
Shout
Smile.
out to Barstow.
Let's see. What part of Girls in Panzer directly spoke to you more? The thoughtful character interactions or the cool action scenes? I think this is a no-brainer, but I'm curious to see what you say.
Yeah, I would say the action scenes all the way.
Of course. With
Yeah,
so many.
because for anyone that watches the show, yeah, they'll enjoy the character interactions, and I'm sure that a lot of people can talk in length about Miho's relations with her mother and then the family at large. But what is the thing you're gonna remember about the show when you're done with it?
The tanks. The
Of
tanks.
course, it and for me as someone that likes to like create stories, I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, but what defines a good story is good action, and that action can be in any way. If I, but for at least for how I portray it in my own story, it is tank combat. I would say that what I focus the most to make sure I do it well is the tank combat.
Yeah.
Mostly because you're not gonna get a lot of it in those devils. Because especially for what I'm doing relative recently is I'm keeping a minimum of 10 chapters between battles because I don't want them to happen too frequently because they are a special event.
Yeah, you gotta build up your viewers' excitement.
And yeah, and also because since they're a special event, I have to make sure that they are worth the wait. And for anyone in the chat right now, I've been talking about the French match for like years now. I've been hyping it up, and now it's up to me to make sure that that match is worth the hype. So that's why when I get down to writing it, then it could take a good while. I would say we're lucky to see it in 2025. I mean, I hope so.
Hopefully.
I want to because I don't want this to be like become an inside joke where you know when's the French match becomes our server's version of when's Half-Life 3.
At Nell, when's the Bolivia review?
Yeah, how about this? Write the Bolivia review now, and I'll get to writing on the French match right now.
I think I have to agree for the most part. Just is concerning Girls in Panzer in general. Of course, the tank scenes have higher
Yeah.
quality. But most of the character interactions, even the ones with the anglerfish team between like Miho and her mother, Maho and her grandma, are not that detailed. And a lot of the best character interactions in the entire series come from the fact that they're all stereotypes of their own countries they're LARPing.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've avoided to some degree in my own characters.
Yeah.
Because honestly, because you already seen the same jokes forever now, so it won't mean anything. It won't really mean much if I just regurgitate them again.
Yeah, gotta be a little authentic. Gotta have something
Yeah.
unique to you.
Hmm.
Okay. This one is a little similar to previous questions, but you've mentioned not being into anime in general, so how'd you come across
Yeah.
Gup and how'd you end up in the fandom?
Right, well, as mentioned before, I just found Gup just through watching a video, and then like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But really, by and large, I am not an anime fan, and yeah, along with Gup, I did partially watch Attack on Titan. I watched the first season back when there was only like one season to watch. So I completed like the first season, like that was pretty all right. But since there wasn't like a second season to watch and had to wait, I just lost interest, and then I just never bothered to re-engage with the show. And then there was another, I guess another. I guess I'll say I also watched Strike Witches, which
Ooh.
people who know you already know. But this was such a long time ago. And again, the same story. I watched the full season, and like honestly, despite it's made it's made for men clearly, like yeah. But I found enjoyment and not in the obvious,
Right.
like I thought when I watched Dark Rage, like there's something here. I wish it wore pants, but there's something here.
I
But that
wish
wasn't
they
enough for
wore
me.
pants.
Yeah, but it just wasn't enough for me like to watch like the rest of what the franchise had to offer, because I know by now they probably have a second season and some OVAs by now, but
There's
I'm
like
not gonna
five
watch them. I know.
seasons.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch them. No. And yeah, and yeah, and that's pretty much the extent of my anime watching. And even for Gup itself, people who know that I don't really interact with the media much at all. I don't. It's been a while since my last rewatch of season one. I would say 2 years probably. And DOS finale is like, again, I only watched the first two. I don't know even if it's complete by now. I don't think so. Is
Nope.
it?
It's still in progress. We're still waiting on DOS Finale 5 and 6, but I
Yeah,
really
but
do think
hey, they're
BF4
making
is
more
peak
progress.
media.
Well, they're making more progress than me. But anyway, yeah. I don't know if I will ever like watch DOS finale like complete it. I think eventually, yeah, but just not like an immediate desire to go out of my way. And I also want to add, in case for people listening, that for Dust Devils, ignore DOS finale, because any like new plot lines in DOS finale has no influence on Dust Devils.
Neat.
As far as Dust Devils is concerned, DOS finale does not exist.
Good to know.
And that's not me because I don't like it. It's just that I just don't want to incorporate it, because that's just I'm too far in to change stuff for my own story.
Right.
And then I'll just then move on now. I also never read any of the manga either.
Oh, that's a bit less of a crime. Mangas take a little more personal interaction.
Yeah, and I could lie to myself and say I'll read it eventually, but let's be honest, I won't ever do it.
Let's see. So how did you end up in the fandom then? How did you find your way into our niche Discord servers?
So what started was just me. Okay, so what started was me like on browsing the subreddit, and that's when I learned that there was a Discord. Like, okay, I'll join. And then would you want to guess what was my first message on the subreddit Discord?
I couldn't got possibly guess.
Some people in chat may know, but my very first message on the subreddit Discord was me advertising Dust Devils. That was the first thing I did. I just walked in the door and then shoved in the faces of everyone in my book.
Read my shit. Do it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's really interesting because that I was writing Dust Devils for at least for first initial 30 chapters or so. I was writing them completely like in isolation. That I wasn't even talking to anyone about it. And I had reviewers, sure, but it's not like I was like in conversations with them. So that's like, so it's just an interesting part. Look at history right there.
would you say interacting with our fellow fanfic writers helped improve your writing quality after?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I know,
So
I
yeah,
remember.
it's better being community.
While I was never knowledgeable myself, I remember countless days where a bunch of writers would get together and really discuss the inner mechanics of a tank and would this actually work in real life, even though it's all fiction.
Hmm. I have
Many
vague
days of
memories
that.
of this too. And then all that work for like what? Nothing, right? Nothing came out of it.
You get one paragraph out of all that brainstorming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to a simpler question. Something to relax ourselves before we head into the personal stuff. Let's see, Saunders or St. Gloriana? I'm sure the American fic writer would have a solid answer for this one.
Yeah. I wish I can have like a much more interesting answer, but yeah, it's Saunders. Yeah. Mainly because I invested so much in like proving that they had a super Persian that I'm firmly in their camp now.
They're your homies.
Yeah, they're my besties for life.
Alright. Personal. Investing into the inner mind of someone who writes 600,000 words for fun. That.
So
What a.
it's psychopathic mind, right?
Type. Uh. Well, from interacting with you myself, you're not psychopathic, but you're very unique. And we can all appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
We love a little bit of
That's
tism in
great.
our friends.
Look, yeah, I think unquestionably I do have some form of it. I guess you kind of need it if you want to create anything so involved.
Yeah. Alright. The one we've all been waiting for this entire live stream. What the fuck does AAHW stand for? What does
Okay,
it
let me
mean?
answer that. Let me answer that question with another one. Have you ever heard of like Madness Combat?
Oh, I've heard of it, but never interacted with the media.
Okay, so like the main character in that piece of media, which is to anyone who doesn't know, it's a flash animation made by one guy that is incredibly violent. So of course, when I was like in the fourth grade, I found that and fell in love with it. And so the main character is named Hank Wimbledon, right?
Yes.
And then so that character is fighting against an agency, and this agency has four letters to it: AAHW, Agency Against Hank Wimbledon.
Super credible in the chat, just like pre-fired it, got it right, got the prediction right. Agency against Hank Wimbledon mentioned. Very cool.
Yep, here we go. Where's our agents at? Yeah, so I just thought, well, I like that. Well, I guess I don't know what you call it, an acronym or an initialism, whatever. I like that collection of letters, and Madness Combat is a fairly niche, fandom. I mean, it has this popularity, but it's not like it's mainstream, right?
Right.
So I thought, AAHW, I can reasonably use that and get it as a username in a lot of places. So I just went with it.
I had a similar thought from Mini Stalin myself. I see where you're going with it.
And the benefit is that the real ones know immediately what it means. So it's always good.
Very cool. We have a question in Spanish for the next one.
I translated it like a while ago, but I already forgot what it means. Can you like run it by me again?
Yeah, so we're gonna have Te estás divirtiendo, viejo, which translates into Are you having fun, old man?
Okay, so who said that? Who submitted that?
It's all anonymous, but if I had to guess, this feels very Wenzel-pilled to me.
I bet it was. Sadly, he's gone for now.
He'll be back.
But here's my one-word response. Right? Get ready for it. Puto. There you go. There you go. I'm done.
Give it up, give it up. Clap. It's the word. Alright. Next part. What parts of your life, if any, did you use as a basis for world building in Dust Devils, besides living in California?
Okay, so not describing California as like a real handicap, because to anyone who reads it, there's a lot of stuff in California I write about. Because I just happen to live here. I was born and raised here. So you can't really separate California from Dust Devils.
California is Dust Devils. It's the
Yeah,
foundation.
they're all Cali girls, and some boys too.
Some boys with the IS-3 with a 20 and 2 KD. Insane.
They just go hard. Dude, they're built different.
Okay. We have a pretty old head question here. Mainly.
Are you just saying that because I'm old?
No, it's for anyone
Yeah,
who
sure.
was there during the
Okay.
early days of the Girls in Panzer fanfiction server.
Mm-hmm.
The name Vertibird strikes fear into some.
Strikes fear to all the souls. Yeah.
And Verti here wants your thoughts on him years later.
Well, since you know what timing, he came back yesterday.
Yes, he, after years of no contact, came back out of nowhere just yesterday.
Yeah, and you know I'm glad that honestly I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad from our interactions with just between me and him and between everyone else that he's definitely improved as a person. He's less immature. But of course, he's still 14, so let's not, get ahead of ourselves, though. But overall, good guy. I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, well, looking forward to seeing future developments. Now, this one, I have no idea what it's talking about, so I'm hoping you can give me a little context here. Were
I
you,
hope I can.
at at any point in time, hired by the auditor?
Okay, so let me explain this. This is also related to Madness Combat. Because the auditor is the person in charge of the agency. So he's one of the main villains.
Right.
So as far as if I'm hired, well, I signed an NDA, so I can't disclose that.
Well, 2 Madness Combat and 1 interview. I guess the name sticks.
Yeah, it suits so well.
Alright, we have a new question, very relevant to our modern trends of today. Now, I know you're very picky with your video games, but what is your opinion on a Hollow Knight Silksong?
To be very real with you, I only learned this video game existed within the past year. Even though that for rest of the internet, they were obsessed to the point that I feel like many of them were about to throw themselves off the cliff if the game wasn't going to come out. All I know about it is that it's a platformer and that a lot of people have been waiting 7 years for it to come out.
It's been 100 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I got no feelings till Silk's on. I'm just waiting till Left 4 Dead 3, man. That's what I'm waiting for. That's
Hell
my Silk
yeah,
song
baby,
right
Left
there.
4 Dead
That's my
3!
Silk song right there.
Let's get Half-Life 3, Team Fortress 3, Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 3.
Orange Box 2. There we go. Or Orange Box, or maybe Orange Box 2, Episode 1.
Aura Box.
Aura Box.
Alright. Let's see. There's one updated question, so we'll jump back to Dust Devils for a second. Why did you
Someone
give...
submitted one right now?
Yeah. Why did you give Redwood such amazing hair?
I don't recall. Okay, so I never wrote him to be bald, but I don't remember writing him to have like magnificent hair.
You did write, because I remember this just reading it a day ago, that his family was full of people with like very thick hair. Like no one in the family has male pattern baldness. It's a long lineage.
I would write something like that. Yeah, like yeah. Okay, so I think my reason was I wanted like Redwood because he is like a middle-aged man, and there is like a cliche, at least in media, of middle-aged men not being like the most attractive people, right?
But not Redwood.
No, I'm not saying he's a supermodel, but he is looking well for his age, right? So he's looking well.
Good to know. Good to know for the artists.
I think that was. I want to say Nell asked that. 100% Nell asked that. He'll deny it, but it's true.
Another Girls in Panzer question, I guess. For our people who just can't help but bandwagon onto one character. Not that I'm any better with Katusha. Is Rosehip the one and only true queen? Whatever that means.
True. No, the true queen is Shiho. That's true queen. Everyone else is irrelevant.
You heard it here. The one character who isn't in high school.
See, I'm not going to prison. That's why.
Alright. Here's a vague one that'll give you a little bit of time to ponder on. What are your hopes and dreams?
I think over time I kind of made it clear to everyone that ever paid attention to me when I talked in the server is archaeology. Yeah, that's one of my hopes and dreams, to have a career in it, and I would say I'm already on my way. I've been recently hired as one by an environmental firm on the previous month, and I'm just waiting for the people in the schedule since they're just way busy. And I'm also currently working on my master's in anthropology with a focus on archaeology, and one of my classes has a focus on none other than Mojave Desert. So yeah, I think that perfectly lays out what my hopes and dreams are.
How ironic, but how sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a chat question from Gollum Gray. Just like the Panther Scope and the Talk, which one of the returning DD bits, which one is your favorite to bring back and write?
And that's including or excluding the ones you mentioned?
Let's say excluding, just to get a unique answer.
Okay, I'm really trying to think what other recurring jokes I have. I know I have other ones, but it's just that the Panther Scope and the the Valerie being not knowing what sex is the ones I just really love. But I'm really trying to think what else did I do. The chat can feel free to help me out here.
DD fans in the chat, what is your favorite running joke in this long thick of dusty words?
I feel like Nell will help me out here. Right? Right now? Help me out? I'm trying to think, but I can't. Oh my god, it's like... That just goes to show I've written too much.
It's been too much. Bolivia.
Yeah.
Nell says Bolivia.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a running joke within the community, not within the story, though. Yeah, I can't. I wish I could. I know there's some, but I really can't. Oh wait. It just came to me.
Oh.
It's not something I do a lot right now, but there is a running joke in an earlier part of the story that Valerie is a terrible driver.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, she cannot drive to save her life, and she doesn't know she's that bad.
Even when told to her face, Val says, "Oh, I'm not that bad. I just need a little practice." To which the rest of the T-44 crew goes, "No."
Yeah, so that's something. So I'm glad to remember it because I want to resurrect it because I have a payoff in mind to really make the joke overall better. So that's the only one that I can really think of. I'm sure there is more, but I just can't think of any.
Mini Stalin, tell Ulysses about the S word. What's the S word? Oh, serendipity.
Oh, who asked that?
Nell.
Okay, so this is what Mel noticed is that I like to use the word serendipity probably more than I should. And Nell caught on, and because Nell caught on, I'm gonna make sure to use it as much as I can now.
Is the John Brown's body verse a running joke?
I would say it's one within the community, but not within the story since I haven't mentioned John Brown forever. But yeah, it's a running joke.
Cool. I'm trying to think of my own any running jokes I've caught within the series, but I really can only think of the only thing that comes to my mind is the night vision on one of the tanks being destroyed. And it was so expensive to replace.
It's my personal favorite. And I know one day that joke's gonna pay off. Just gotta wait a bit.
The running joke of the IS-3 being invincible. Yeah, it seems to never die. It just...
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Well, it is a very heavily armored tank, and the pike angle of the hull really adds to its protection. And honestly, though, when you think about it, its inclusion is kind of unfair since only like a handful of tanks can even hope to be able to compete with it.
Nerf Soviet armor.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see. Has your writing changed how your thought process works or how your internal monologue or voice works?
I would say unquestionably yes, because every day, honestly, every single day, since I first started writing, I've always thought about Dust Devils. Either when I'm walking somewhere, or on driving, or either like sitting on the couch or in bed, I'm thinking about it. Either I'm thinking about future scenes, or I'm just thinking about just how the story is. It just never left my mind. So even in stretches when there's been months between chapters, it's like I'm always thinking about the story. Sure, I may not be writing about it, but I am always thinking about it. And that has to have changed my thought process in a way that I really can't understand because it changed it at a fundamental level.
When you're talking to yourself, do you ever speak in Dust Devil's grammatically styled paragraphs?
You know what? Probably. If you ever really analyze what I think about, probably, and who knows?
Maybe it'll become real. Maybe.
I mean, I have said I have had some dreams about Dust Devils where actually seeing my characters, at least what my mind thinks what they look like.
This actually brought a thought to my own mind. Are we ever going to... I haven't read the full thing, but are we ever going to see the Bob Semple in DD?
Only as a joke. Only as a joke.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love my mattress and my tank. It's so comfy.
Yeah.
Alright. I guess this next question is a bit similar, or something you've already elaborated on a little, of how you ended up doing archaeology/anthropology.
This is something that, I explained more deeply in the server, but I'll just go over it once again. Is that what's because so just to like summarize again very quickly, I used to be a biology major. One because I wanted to focus on microbiology, right?
Right.
But then when I was in chemistry class, I realized I actually hated chemistry. I don't like this. This shit sucks. And so at some point during chemistry class, I stopped taking notes and instead started writing the first words to Dust Devils. And then so okay, we fast forward a few weeks and whatever, and then I'm well into story like chapter 20 or 30 or whatever. I introduce a new character, Louise, my better Louise, and then Louise, if to no one knows, is the commander of the Super Pershing, and Louise is genuinely a member of the Mojave tribe. And so she has facial tattoos that reflect that because in their culture, it's common for men and women to have facial tattoos. And so I thought, okay, let me write about an indigenous character, and then you know what? I might as well research the Mojave tribe so I can maybe I can find something interesting to write about, and of course learn about them. And that's when I realized that the Wikipedia page for the Mojave tribe is tiny compared to other Wikipedia pages for like more, I guess you could say, more mainstream tribes, like the Navajo or the Comanche. And like that annoyed me because I thought, how come this tribe has so little information on it on Wikipedia too? Because you would think someone would have like written a whole book on it, right?
Right.
And so that annoyed me so much that I channeled that emotion to changing my major from biology to anthropology. And I thought, all right, this is it now. And so I got my associate's degree in anthropology, transferred to a university and got my bachelor's, and then went right back in and got to do my master's. And yeah, and really I mean this seriously, when Dust Devils altered my life trajectory and also sent me into debt as well. But we'll just gloss over that too. We'll gloss over that.
Nell asks, did Yuli rectify this by editing the Mojave tribe's Wikipedia page?
No, because first off, I feel like if to anyone to actually edit that, I feel like you would have to be a genuine professor or actual like fully professional like archaeologist that specialized in Mojave tribe. Look, I know some stuff, but I am by no means an expert. And so it wouldn't feel right to me to contribute to that webpage. And really, if anything, it should be members of their own tribe to write their own story.
That's true. Go find Louise. She's waiting for you.
Oh, she's waiting. Yeah.
Alright. I'm not gonna reveal who is in this next question, but you definitely will be able to infer who it is. What would you do if I found you IRL? Hint, Australian.
I mean, I wonder who that is because I know so many Australians. There's that one guy, and then there's a sniper from TF2, and then there's the possibilities are endless. But let's assume this hypothetical person. Let's say we met up. I don't know. We could. I hope you like boba tea because I do. We can grab some.
Thank you, Paranoia.
Really, I would have never guessed.
Totally. I don't even know what this question is asking, but we'll roll with it. Where was Valerie when the Westfold fell?
Oh, she was there. She caused it.
What?
She caused it, yeah.
Is Valerie a terrorist?
It depends on your frame of mind. I see her as a freedom fighter.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. I think that's wrapping up all of the questions we do have. So if anyone in the chat has any last second ones for our wonderful author here, that would be nice.
Yeah, I got time for a few more. I have over an hour before I really have to get to class.
Valerie was there when the two towers fell. What a coincidence. We're almost at 9/11, aren't we? Let's have an anniversary.
It's like, you know what we should do? We should have a roleplay event on 9/11 where we all watch like an unedited broadcast of the event where we're all pretending we're watching it for the first time.
Right.
That's a fun, wholesome activity. Actually, we get on that.
Fun, wholesome, and with 10 boxes of Little Caesars pizza to go.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that's a fun. That's a family activity for today.
Let's see. On a scale of 1 to 32, how many attempts has Emma made to lay Val? Wow.
I already know what it means. Let's say 64.
Has she succeeded?
Nope. Because Valerie is too dense. That's why. And Emma doesn't want to force it, so like, well, next time, and then she keeps trying again and again, and then, well, yeah, she'll get lucky one day, maybe 10 years from now.
Is that the ending of Dust Devils? Valerie finally learns what sex is.
Well, that's actually the final chapter. That's actually what the last match will be about. Her learning the birds and bees.
And is this gonna like culminate in some strat? Oh, well, let's scissor the opponent.
That's a different kind of combat right there. Hey, if that's the readers want, well, I gotta give them what they asked for.
You gotta fulfill the demand.
Yeah.
Nell asks,
Very, very
which
lusty
pharmacy
demand, yeah.
does Heather go to when she needs her flu shot?
CVS.
Did she get an extra long receipt with that?
Always, yeah. She collects them.
Collects. Does Heather form personal attachments to CVS receipts?
Well, I would say possibly, but also because you probably read enough by now that she has an interest in fashion, so she might do something with the receipts. Like make a dress out of them. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it fits Heather.
Yeah, she will make it look good somehow.
Question: is the egg usage canon or not?
No, and I'll make sure it won't be.
What is the egg usage?
I have an idea what it is, but I'm not sure what it means either. Like not 100% no.
Para, if you're talking about egg segs, I am banning you. There will be no egg segs in my lovely live stream.
And no horses either. No horses either.
No, don't. Go Emma, go. If they were asked to, would the DD cast be willing to save the school? I feel like this is a no-brainer. Their bond is just as strong as anime characters.
So, when you mean like save the school, they mean they save their own school, or some reason they have to save or Mihio's school all over again? Like which one are you asking? Those are like different. Those are different answers right there.
I think it's a fun, both. How would they team up with Urai?
How would they? Yeah, it's like it's the ultimate crossover, I guess. But I guess to answer it somewhat seriously, I guess if for whatever reason, like let's say Mojave Rose is facing a shutdown, I guess they would save it. But I wouldn't really write that since that's just a retelling of season 1, but just in America.
I have my own question.
Go for it. What is it?
In the Mojave Uri joint team, who commands between Miho and Val?
Okay, so I have put thought in how a command structure will work in like if two schools were on the same side. And honestly, I would say by default, the school that initiated the idea for a combined team assumes command by default. But that can change if one of the captains just has a year more in experience.
Yeah, I'm thinking Valerie might
It's
just
something.
relinquish it.
It's something. Yeah. In this case, Valerie would because she's starstruck.
Holy shit, it's Miho Nishizumi! Oh my
Yeah,
god.
pretty much. Yeah. And really, she would be like a total loyal second in command for sure.
Like Nana?
Yes, absolutely.
Very fun. What's your question, Paranoia?
I can only wonder what it is.
I can only wonder if it happens to do with the country of Australia. Valerie is a fan of Miho. I think this is established pretty early, but I'm still was really hoping in the time that I read through Dust Devils that I would see a character interaction. But maybe that just incentivizes me to read more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just that for at least for nationals, there was really no way to write about a canon character without like doing a total jump to what like I do one scene in like where I don't know like Boston whatever, and then like total shift or in Tokyo for whatever reason, right? It's like that would that would interrupt everything. Like I don't really see a point in it.
Yeah. No. Well, it does get me thinking though, because Pravda and Kuromori Miin are mentioned several times in the series. And I'm not sure how far in the World Tournament is,
I'm
but
like at best 60% through.
in I just feel like it's viable. Let's see. Since I would like to see it, but it's up to you. You're the better writer than me. You know best.
Mm-hmm.
Since we know Emma leans back against Valerie's legs whilst in the tank, does Valerie get injured from being shaken around?
I would say yes, but she doesn't really notice it because at this point it's happened so much that if you get knocked around, that's just another day in the office,
As long as she has her helmet with her.
Yeah, they always have their helmets, so it's not like they're getting like concussions every 2 minutes. So no.
Also, secondary question, when do we get Yuri fluff between Val and Emma based on that interaction?
Honestly, I really could do something with that.
They do a lot of kissing in the tank. I think that's literally their bedroom. I don't know.
They do.
They might as well move in.
Yeah, honestly, that is their home away from home. Honestly,
And
and
then,
okay, as for fluff, yeah, I think at this point we're due for some. But
nice.
honestly, though, probably, well, I was gonna say not before the French match because I've already like planned out everything between now and then. But maybe I can squeeze it in if I feel like the scene really calls for it for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
But hey, it will happen eventually. I mean, it's not like they're gonna be like totally like disinterested because no, they're a couple. So yeah, you're gonna get moments for sure.
FOMO away from home.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Do you enjoy writing with this many OCs to your disposal, or do you sometimes wish there was a less focus less focus to focus more per character?
Okay, can you repeat that?
Do you enjoy having this many OCs to your disposal, or do you wish there were less so you could focus more screen time on each character?
I want to say it's yes and no. Yeah, I would like to be able to focus on more characters, but having such a wide roster to pick from is that whenever I'm stuck like which like if I'm like stuck on like how should this chapter start or what should the next scene should be about. Well, then having a huge roster be like, well, I haven't written about this character in a while. I haven't written about this character in a while. Like, yeah, I can just do something with them, and then create a whole thing about them. So it's so in other words, it's a double edged sword, but I
Yeah.
really wouldn't have it any other way.
Next question. I'm pretty sure Panzer IIs have made appearances at Dust Devils, but will they make a major appearance given the dustiness of California?
Major. Well, let's think about this somewhat seriously, because I'm thinking about Panzer twos on in the internationals, right?
Right.
And you haven't reached that far yet. So just for amount of spoilers, it is a step above the nationals. And I'm thinking that what can a Panzer two do against teams that are more likely to be equipped with late war and some prototype tanks? Beyond reconnaissance and some scouting, if these tanks and like a Panzer two gets caught by a Pershing or a T-44 or even like another light tank, but it's just better in every way, like a Chaffee or whatever. At a point, it's just it can't compete, and that really any team that fields it is like purposely hurting themselves. Now that being said, people familiar with the Mojave Rose team is that they have a bunch of they have a number of tanks that straight up cannot compete with late war vehicles. There is the Stewart. There is even the Puma, even though he has a 50 mil. It's when you're facing tanks like a Ferdinand or a Yak Panther or a Yak Tiger, that 50 mil is not going to do much. And even another tank that which you aren't aware of, but later on in the story, the team gets a short gun Type 97. Yeah, it's a howitzer, but that's not really going to do much against a lot of tanks that at this level of competition. So yeah, I chose to have those tanks because they present a writing challenge. But if you want to think like really realistically, then stuff like the Panzer II shouldn't be in matches.
Rest in peace to our recon fans. Anchovy would never accept this with their CV-33 clutches and dirt film.
No, no. If I rolled Enzeal, they would have gone curb stomped every time.
Pretty sure they do.
Yeah, but I will make it like a devastating defeat. Like, why even bother showing up?
I hate you. Your food isn't even good. You should suffer. Alright, here's a interesting one. I'll reword it because I think it could be more interesting this way. If the writers, producers, and directors of GUP came up to you, saw your writing, and were like, "Wow, this could be canon in the Girls in Panzer universe. I want this. This is great world building." What would you think of that if the directors came up to you? Canonized
Well,
Dust Devils.
that is like a ludicrous level fantasy right there, and I'll be lying if I never thought about it too. But yeah, I guess that would be beyond amazing if that was the case. But realistically, I'll be lucky if there was even a mention of the United States in the main show.
Yeah, it's a fun thought though.
It is a very fun thought. It'll likely never happen, but I think honestly, the most I can ever hope for is California being name dropped because that'll be enough for me to claim Dust Devils reference. That's enough for me.
Absolute Dustavilla. Let's see. Which tank has the most NPC energy within Dust Devils? I have my own answer for this.
I don't. Well, I. Hmm. Now I hope I understand what it means. I understand what NPC energy means, but I'm just gonna go with like the tank with that has the characters like the least development. That makes them stand out. And I'm thinking maybe the Cromwell crew or the Thunderbolt crew. There's probably others, but it's only because I just never gave them enough screen time. Beyond, like, maybe outside of matches, they might barely have any dialogue in the story.
I definitely got that feeling, yeah. I was gonna say the SC-14 because what other thing can just kamikaze and take down 5 other tanks with it?
Right? Yeah.
Seems pretty NPC to me.
Yeah. Well, it's very honorable as well. So you got to give props to them.
Of course. We are approaching our hour and 30-minute mark. And questions seem to have slowed down, but we'll answer a few before we head off.
I got a bit more time. I would say
Where do you want to
let's
cut
have a
this off?
definite cutoff at 3:25.
3:25? Okay,
Like we for sure have to be done by then.
will do.
Okay.
Which tank is the first one you think of when you need to give an enemy team a standard tank?
Standard tank.
John Sherman?
Honestly, it's Panthers. That's what I immediately think of.
That actually makes sense. I feel like there are a lot of minor schools and girls in Panzer with Panthers.
Yeah, and I thought it's a good like standard issue bad guy tank.
Clockwork Imperium. Maybe I should become the one and only stand of the Cromwell crew. Surely.
Hey, they do have rockets, so they got something going for them.
Panther? Standard issue? This is Panzer IV slander, says Super Credible.
No, that brings up like another interesting point, and I'm surprised this wasn't asked, and that I'm surprised people didn't ask how come I didn't like use tanks that Mihil's team used, like the Panzer IV. Like, because if anyone that pay attention to every battle, I have never had a Panzer IV as an enemy tank, not even in passing mention.
I remember the Hetzer being mentioned in a passing thing when trying to deal with Molly Pitcher's big boy. But besides that, that adds up of no Urai mentions as far as their tank roster goes.
Yeah, and I want to say that it's very intentional that I don't use like Urarai's tanks, like namely the Panzer IV. It's very intentional.
I wouldn't want to be a copycat.
It's less a copycat and more that I got a plan for it.
Cool. Which minor nation tanks do you like the most? This one, I know Yukari Akiyama would love this question.
For minor nations.
Yeah.
I would say Hungary has some good tanks. I think they have like the Turan. I think that's what they have. Can chat back me up, correct me if that's what they have. I think it's Hungary or Romania. It's one of them.
Either one. Yeah, it was the 7TP I was thinking of when thinking of niche tanks. That was Polish,
That's
right?
Polish, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Polska Góra. Polska Góra. Clockwork Imperium. Has any of the T-44 crew been to Disneyland since they're in California? Aren't they all broke?
Well, Heather's parents are doctors, so she's more well off. But the thing is, Disneyland, the closest one is all the way in Anaheim, and since they're all in Barstow, that's a couple hours drive. I mean, at a minimum. So I think that alone is just a deterrent.
That is right. Having been to Barstow myself, it's fucking far away. It's so
Yeah,
far.
I've been there like a couple of times too. Yeah, it's far, and like if I wanted to drive right now, it's at least an hour and a half drive.
Damn. Tank. Oh, because the topic of minor nation tanks. I know you haven't been up to date on the manga, but I do remember it being a conversation in certain fan fiction discussions. Tank Galathon, where only light
Only
tanks are allowed. Have you ever thought about that at all?
okay. So now here's the thing: I have written a match like that, but it's way beyond what you read.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have given that that side sport so some attention,
You're not a
and really
real
to
sport.
well I don't want to get too much spoilers, but I do treat that like tankathon as a controversial thing
Really?
because because how I view it is that it's not like in the officially sanctioned. Like all like the tankery like governing bodies don't approve of it. And I forgot how I justified it, but that's the reason why. That's mostly because I wanted it to have like some notoriety with the sport to make it like an underground aspect, underground aspect.
It's a really cool way of like creating like hot topics in the tankery world because in other sports, especially the basketball, for anyone who watches that, very drama queen kind of sports. So to introduce some like actual world drama that people will discuss about besides the like no boys allowed in tankery is a pretty
Mm,
interesting thing.
yep, it's just something that the more traditionalists within the sport will be against for one reason or the other. So it's just another avenue to get drama out of it.
I hate change. It makes me feel scared.
More or less, yeah, that's it.
If you could pull a schematics only AFV from World of Tanks into Dust Devils, what would be your top 5 picks?
I would
Wow.
say I kind of, honestly, I kind of to an extent already did this with the E100, but even though that did exist partially as a whole, but if it was up to me, I would introduce the other E series tanks from Germany, the standard Panzers. I would love to have them. If I could justify it to myself, I would have added them, but it's too paper.
Hmm.
But in a perfect world, in a dream world, yeah, I would use them all the time.
Para, as a contributor to the online information about Dust Devils, asked about what your opinion is on the KD ratio and other data that was created, and if anything should be added.
I don't know what needs to be added since I'm pretty sure it's up to date. Um,
Well, besides kills, any neat thing that might be trackable.
oh, like other things, like other kinds of stats tracking, right?
Yeah.
I think Para has tracked how many times the Stewart's been knocked out because for some reason or the other, singled it out. I think that's correct. I think Para will write a bit about that.
Mojave does seem to favor really heavy tanks. Like, really heavy.
Yeah, yeah, and really, when it boils down to it, they create the most action, so that's why I gravitate towards them. And really, since I if you can describe them well, then you can create it in a reader's mind this impressive, almost monster-like machine just prowling around. Like if you do it right, then you can create real vivid imagery.
Cool. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this next question because I'm a big sports person myself, huge into baseball and football. How much experience do you have with sports, and how much does that affect the Dust Devils?
All right, so here's the deal. Never ever have I ever been on a sports team ever. So as far as me being into sports, it's not really. I half pay attention to baseball, mostly the Angels, because my mother was an Angels fan. But if I could tell you like who was on the team, I couldn't really tell you beyond like the very mainstream athletes like Mike Trout.
Mike Trout mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. But honestly, as far as sports go, I don't really pay attention to the specifics of but more of their influence on American culture.
Is that right? That actually makes me curious. In the Dust Devils worlds, does tankery culture, how much does it differ across countries? Because what we've seen seems to be in the landscape of America only, especially with the traditionalists and the no boys allowed stuff. How does that vary across the other countries in DD?
I'm trying to think. I would say that for most countries, they would have similar attitudes on male participation in tankery. Of course, you always have your outliers. And I'm trying to think that which country would actually be like, the most tolerant.
Co-ed
And
accepting?
I'm sure, say it?
Co-ed accepting?
Yeah, the most tolerant, yeah, of a co-ed team. I'm not trying to think. I know if I really thought about it, I could probably think of some country that will make sense to be more tolerant. Honestly, though, I don't know why, but the immediate country that comes to mind is the Soviet Union.
I mean, it's not too crazy. You consider they were one of the
No, not too
first
crazy, no.
countries to use women in their armies as snipers.
Yeah, and and I'll spoil something for you, but very minor since you haven't read this far. But is that I written a small snippet where during World War II, the Soviet Union drafted all their female tankery athletes entered their tank armies and used their experience in tankery to bolster actual tank units.
Huh, how neat.
Hmm. And then I also mentioned how many died during the war, which is like sours the mood a little bit. But
Uh,
and I said that's just me. Yeah, but I would say yeah. I would say honestly, think about it more. That experience of female tank units mixed in with male ones, I will then that kind of gives more credence to the idea that it's Soviet Union and then Russia in general will be more permissive of co-ed teams, since since they would have a history to them of men and women like dying together in tanks.
yeah. We are approaching 3:25 with about a minute and a half left. Please give your last questions right now.
Let's say chooses one more, make it a good one.
One more? Give it. Okay. Best question gets chosen.
Also, just for everyone else, you keep spitting out questions, but I'll just answer them through text later.
Yeah, this there will be a VOD uploaded to YouTube. So for those who couldn't make it, or those who didn't get to be here the whole time, can always check it out later. It'll be available. Closing statements. 30 seconds remain. Question. I stayed up till 4:45 a.m. to watch the stream. It's now 6 a.m. Did you choose wisely? It's always wise when Dust Devils is involved, isn't it?
Yeah, and what's even more wise is staying up just for this. So thank you, whoever that was.
Super credible. Thank you. Okay, last one. In a perfect scenario, which characters, storyline slash lives would you want to go really into depth to, and excluding the current main characters?
In depth too. Let's see. I would say, are we counting like Gabrielle as a main character?
I assume main characters meant the T-44 crew.
Yeah,
So,
that's unquestionably, yeah. I think everyone else is just a supporting cast. But yeah, I always did thought about, exploring more of her background. And for a while I did plan out like a Dust Devils prequel that was all about Gabrielle and
her
her.
accident?
Well, how the story would go would be like her experience trying to make it into the professional league, and then that story would end in her accident.
Interesting.
And that's still on the table, but then I also have ideas for two sequels for Dust Devils, so that's like
You got
three
a lot on
story.
your plate.
Yeah, and then not to mention I do have like some other writing ideas for Gup that I also want to like get off the ground. Like one about space, but that's much you're gonna get, since that's a very like a wacky concept that I feel like, oh, I can do some good with that one.
Alright. Well, that will be all for the stream. Thank you, AAHW. Thank you, all viewers, for showing up in the chat
Yeah,
now. Gollum Gray,
and thank you
Paranoia,
to everyone
Nell.
that joined in. So I want to say that by the end of it, how many people are watching right now?
Let's check Twitch. Because I don't have the thing pulled up. I have OBS open. But by the end, we have 7. So a good chunky stuck around, and I appreciate that. Can Yukari into space? Only if Poland. But again, thank you all. Peak of 10. That's neat. Thank you all. Signing off now. Say your bye-byes. AA. So Yukari will never into space then. I'm sorry, super credible. Bye-bye.